Hi everybody. I wanted to give you a little bit of an explanation about how we're going to work through the competencies in the Reading Specialist Test Preparation Manual. So the manual is located on Blackboard under course content. You can print it out or you can work from it digitally. Either way is fine. But you'll notice under course content in the syllabus, we start discussing our responses to the different questions in the practice test on Monday of next week. So when you look at your test preparation manual, you will see that there is an explanation of the different standards, domains, and competencies. And on page, I believe this is page 4 of the document, it shows you that on the Reading Specialist exam, 57% comes from domain 1, 57% of the test questions, 14% from domain 2, 14% from domain 3, and 14% from domain 4. And so right here, it gives you an explanation of each of the 4 standards. And then you start working through the domains, okay? So it would be a good idea if before we begin working through those competencies, you read through this information at the beginning of the test preparation manual so that you're familiar with the different domains and competencies. So if you scroll through, get through all 4 domains, you'll see that there's an explanation of the different question formats. So you're going to see single questions and clustered questions. It explains how that works and gives you some suggestions for how to approach them. And then after that, here are some example questions. After that, the practice questions begin. And it'll tell you which competency the question is addressing. So on the discussion board, I have divided out the discussion board into the different competencies. What that means is that you're not going to answer the questions in the order in which they appear in the test. You're going to answer them based on the competency. You're welcome to work through the test and answer them straight through that way. Just make sure that on the day that you're supposed to discuss competency 1, you have answered all of the competency 1 questions, okay? So here's what I want you to do as you're working through it. So for number 1 is competency 1. It's not the only competency 1 question, but it's the first one. So it gives you a scenario right here. Read through that. And then I want you to read through the question, the answer, and I want you to go ahead and think through your answer. It's very tempting to click right here where it says answer and rationale. That is, if you're looking at it digitally, that's going to take you to the back of the test preparation manual where you can find the answer and rationale. Avoid clicking. I want you to think through it on your own before you go look at that, because what I've asked you to post on the discussion board for each competency is your answer to each question for that competency and your thinking behind it. Okay, I want your authentic thinking. After you've done that, you're free to go look at the answer and rationale to help you understand it. But I want you to be able to post on the discussion board what actually went through your head and why you chose the answer you did, whether it's right or wrong. Learning happens whether we get the answer right or we get the answer wrong. Okay, so that's how we're going to work through those. If you'll look at the calendar that's included in your syllabus, it tells you on which day we're discussing which competency. You're free to work ahead, but if you post your answers and your thinking before the due date for that particular competency, just make sure that you check back to the discussion board so that you have a chance to actually participate in the discussion. Posting your response and your thought process is not discussion. That's a post. Coming back and reading others and talking about it on that discussion board, that's where the discussion happens, okay? Even though we're not face-to-face, I am still a firm believer in the idea that the learning is in the discussion. So make sure you check back in. All right. If you have questions about the expectations for the discussion of the competency questions, please feel free to email me. Thanks a lot, you guys.